I really, really think it's important that in this generation and in the next like leaps and bounds that we're making in branding and business, that we are integrating our own capacity, our own energetics, our own bodies, our own emotional well-being and mental health into the bigger picture. Hi, welcome back to the Brand Is You podcast. I'm really excited to be diving in to this topic with you. This is actually a conversation I had at my last in-person branding retreat with all of the women right here in my house, in my living room, and it was so sweet and it was a rich conversation and there were a lot of really valuable takeaways. So we're going to do a little bit of a repeat on this topic, and today I'm going to teach you how to build a holistic marketing plan. And actually, I'm going to rephrase that. I'm going to teach you how I build my holistic marketing plan. And you can take what you want from this. You can leave whatever you want to leave behind. Again, I think we all know the brand is you. That's what I stand for. And that means that as you are strategically building your brand, some of the things I say are going to really land with you. Some of the things I say are naturally going to fall away, because as the brand is unique to each one of us, we also need to adopt new strategies, different strategies, unique strategies that feel individually aligned with who we are. So as I share these tips with you on building a holistic marketing plan, I really invite you to stay in alignment with who you are and take what feels really good and exciting for you and possible, and leave behind anything that just feels like, no, I don't like that. That's not going to work for me. And just enter the conversation from a really authentic place. Okay? So there are 4 things that I consider when I'm building my marketing plan. And I'm going to share those 4 things with you today. And first of all, I want to let you know what my definition of a marketing plan is. I did not Google this. I do not know what Webster's dictionary definition of a marketing plan is, but my definition of a marketing plan is knowing and determining what to sell when. Okay? When am I going to sell this? When am I going to sell that? And it's like creating this plan of action for yourself to figure out, what am I going to sell next? What product, service, offer am I going to launch next? And it gives us direction in our sales strategy. So determining what to sell when. These are the 4 things that I take into consideration when I'm determining what to sell when and building our overall marketing plan for Robyn Savage Inc. So the first thing is financial goals, okay? I know a lot of us kind of like to shy away from setting financial goals. They can feel overwhelming and restrictive. A lot of us don't like to talk about money at all, but the truth is we got to pay the bills, right? We've got to have enough money in our pockets at the end of each month to feel safe and secure. And I'm willing to bet that above and beyond that safety and security, you have desires for overflow, to give back, to invest, to buy a vacation home, to pay off your mortgage, to do whatever you've got to do. And that requires money, honey. So determining what your financial goals are for each month, quarter, or even the year can help you determine what you need to sell and how much you need to sell so that you can plan around that. Okay? So first and foremost, what are your financial goals? The second component of my holistic marketing plan is my personal life. Now, this one may sound slightly surprising because I don't really know many people who plan marketing strategies and, their marketing campaigns around their personal lives, but just hear me out on this one, okay? So here's the thing. I'm in the business of building personal brands. If we build a marketing strategy that has nothing to do with your personal life, then there's an incongruence, okay? There's conflict. There are opportunities for you to be out of alignment and to market something when you are knee deep in your personal life. And so Here's how I do this. I look at my calendar for the month or quarter ahead, and you can actually do this for the entire year. You can say, when are the big birthdays? When are our family vacations? When are we celebrating holidays? Do I have an anniversary coming up this year? Do my kids go back to school? What have I got going on in my personal life that I know I need to show up for and want to be present for? Okay. So I map all of those things out as far ahead of time as I can, so that when I'm going to plan my marketing strategy, when I'm going to create my marketing plan, again, determining what to sell when, I don't have a giant launch happening on my 40th birthday. I'm not planned to do a live or, kick off a big launch on my anniversary trip, for example. Okay, so I really love to take into consideration what I've got going on behind the scenes in my life, so that my brand and business don't create conflicts with each other. I try to keep my personal life and my branding and business life in as much harmony as possible, so that it invites ease into my marketing. Okay, so your personal life. What have you got coming up in your personal life, and how can you market around that? So an example of this, I'm leaving tomorrow actually for my 10-year wedding anniversary trip with my husband. We are going to Las Vegas, and then we're retreating into the woods for a few days for some straight up chilling. And I knew that I didn't want to be present online. I knew that I didn't want to be launching anything or sending out sales emails, or I didn't want to be online selling if I didn't have to be. So I put that into my calendar, and then I planned a launch around my time away. And now I'm making the money and I'm taking the trip. Okay. And neither one of those things are interfering with each other. So that's the second thing. The third component of my holistic marketing plan is my own energetic capacity. Okay. So what this means to me is, like, how much can I do? How much energy do I have to show up? How much energy, how much time, how much desire do I have to really be present in my business, in my brand? How much do I want to be creating content? How much capacity and energy do I have to sell online? If I'm going through a big season of grief or loss or healing or burnout, then I am going to recalibrate my marketing plan based on what I think I can handle, so that I'm not creating more burnout, compounding fatigue on top of fatigue, and stretching myself way too thin. Okay. I really, really think it's important that in this generation and in the next leaps and bounds that we're making in branding and business, that we are integrating our own capacity, our own energetics, our own bodies, our own emotional well-being and mental health into the bigger picture. So that means that if I'm going through some deep healing for the next 3 months, I may need to alter and change my marketing plan to reflect that. Now, you can imagine that this is where things can start to get a little bit tricky. But Robyn, I've still got these financial goals, right? I've still got those bills to pay that you were talking about just a few minutes ago. So if I'm going through healing and I don't want to show up to do the work, but I've got these bills to pay, then how can my marketing strategy, or how can my marketing plan still support me in both of those ways? Well, this is where I would start to look at offering different services or products. So maybe if I'm not looking to serve a lot, maybe if I'm looking to serve less but still make the money, I would focus on selling fewer higher ticket offers that month. Okay? Or I would pre-sell a program or a service for the next month. Okay? So I really can support my own energy in this process. I just have to be willing to zoom out a little bit and to see the bigger picture. Okay? So the fourth piece of this puzzle is your desire to lead. How do you desire to lead? Okay. So I've got a lot of clients who desire to make a lot of money and they want to build their brands and they want to grow. So they'll look at their opportunities and they'll say, okay, if I sell 10 one-to-one coaching spots, for example, then that brings in this much money and it's this much of my energetic capacity and I can handle this, and this. But when I look at my desire to lead, I realize I really don't like having one-to-one clients. So there's a mismatch here, and that's going to create a point of instability in your marketing plan because you're going to bring in all of these one-to-one clients because your marketing is going to be, obviously, then you're going to have all these one-to-one clients, you're going to be drained and you're going to be bummed out because you're going to feel like, now I have to show up for these one-to-one clients and I don't desire to lead that way. So when we recognize how we desire to lead and we market accordingly, what we could do instead is say, okay, this is my financial goal. This is my energetic capacity. Here's what I've got going on in my personal life. And I want to lead a group. So instead of launching one-to-one, my desire to lead is to lead many. So I'm actually going to launch a mastermind, or I'm actually going to launch this group program, or I'm actually going to launch my membership and send it with those offers so that now once the launch is over and I'm actually leading this group of people, that feels like it's giving me energy rather than taking something away from me. Because when we are out of alignment with our work, we no longer feel like we are getting from our work. We feel like we are being drained by our work. And that is no bueno because you are inevitably going to burn out if that is your system. Okay, you will crash and burn, you will need to quit, and you will call me and you will be like, Robyn, help me, right? I need to relaunch this. I need to do this. I can't figure out my branding. I can't figure this out. And it's simply because you've created these points of friction in your brand and business and your marketing plan and your content strategy and all of these points that just do not feel good for you. Okay, you cannot sustain a brand or business for very long that really just doesn't feel good in your body, that you can't sustain. So those are the 4 things. Those are the 4 pieces that I use to create my holistic marketing plan. The financial goals, my personal life, my energetic capacity, and the way that I desire to lead. And when I bring all of those things together and I create a marketing plan based on those 4 things, I'm rocking and rolling. You know, of course, there are always things that come up. This week has been one of those super weird weeks where I have just, life happens and you're in the thick of it and you're like, oh my gosh. And we can't predict those things. Those things are always going to happen, but we can do our best to plan ahead. We can do our best to see what we know and create a business that really accommodates that, okay? That accommodates you. You are the brand. So how are you going to build a brand that supports all of who you are? I hope this really helped you. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, as always, email team@robynsavage.com. We are always super happy to hear from you. If you have any feedback, or if you loved this episode, then download it. Follow if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Follow along so that you get notified when our new podcast episodes are released every single Monday. And if you're watching on YouTube, then hit subscribe and become one of our first YouTube followers. Not followers. Become one of our first YouTube subscribers so that we can build this platform and you'll get notified of all of our new videos that drop. I think that's it. I love you. And I'll see you next week on the Brand Is You podcast. Mwah.